In the center of Paris, an ancient Egyptian obelisk rises into the sky. The 3,000-year-old monument was transported from the Temple of Luxor to the Place de la Concorde in 1836. The French appetite for all things Egyptian was whetted by the tremendous research work done in Egypt a few years earlier during Napoleon's invasion. Known as the Description de l'Égypte, this research work is not just a 23-volume book. It is part of modern-day history. Why books? The development of Egyptology due to Napoleon. Napoleon thought of himself as a scientist. He was trained as a military engineer and had considerable mathematical skills. In 1797, he was elected to membership in the National Institute, the foremost scientific society in post-revolutionary France. He wanted to learn as much as possible about ancient Egypt. In July 1798, Napoleon invaded Egypt. Apparently, the main purpose of the campaign was to develop Egypt as a strategic asset and to interrupt Britain's trade route to its major colony, India. Although the decision was not taken directly by Napoleon, it was his idea to take a scientific commission to Egypt together with the army. He gathered together over 160 men, architects, botanists, zoologists, historians, astronomers, engineers, and technicians, including printers who produced a daily newspaper. All these men formed the Commission Scientifique des Sciences et d'Art d'Égypte. On the arrival of the army and the commission in Egypt, Napoleon created the Institut d'Égypte, which was composed of 48 scholars from the commission. In the summer of 1799, Napoleon left Egypt secretly with a few trusted companions, leaving behind the remains of the army under the command of General Jean-Baptiste Kléber, as well as the men of the commission. They did not return to France until March 1801, when the French army surrendered to the combined British and Ottoman forces under the command of General Abercrombie, following the sieges of Alexandria and Cairo. Conditions in Egypt were difficult, and the French had to confront a hostile population. The sanitary conditions led to many cases of dysentery and other diseases. Food became difficult to obtain. The fact that the French were able to work under such conditions and eventually to produce the massive work known as Description de l'Égypte, ou recueil des observations et des recherches qui ont été faites en Égypte, is truly amazing. Over 30 years of collective effort went into the publication of this work. The first volumes appeared in 1809, and the work was completed in 1826. The 23 volumes are in 3 different sizes: 9 books in folio size, 11 in large folio size, and 3 in elephant folio. The text is organized according to subject. The earliest volumes describe the antiquities of Egypt, the pyramids, temples, and other structures. The natural history texts are divided by subject: botany, zoology, mineralogy. These texts are accompanied by detailed illustrations, which in some copies are exquisitely colored by hand, vividly highlighting these masterpieces. Several volumes are devoted to the modern state of Egypt, État moderne. One of the 3 elephant volumes is devoted to the cartography of Egypt. Because of its size, the description is normally in a leather binding, frequently in red morocco. Often, the initials or motto of the owner are stamped in gilt on the spine of each volume. This copy belonged to the diplomat and book collector Stephanos Karatheodori and bears his motto, Miden Agan, and his initials. Now, it is preserved in the collection of the Silvia Ioannou Charitable Foundation. The Egyptologists of the 19th century owed their knowledge of ancient Egypt to the efforts of the men of the Scientific Commission, and it was in the illustrations of the Description that this knowledge was revealed. To this day, the work leaves everyone who sees it in awe due to its appearance and history.